What's going on, everybody? Welcome to, I don't even know what to call it, Get the Bag, Off Market Blueprint commercial version. We're going to uncover a few things today. Uh, Oh, hold on. I had a little snafu there. Had a little, hold on. Let me make sure. I had an echo going, but I think I'm good now. Oh, oh, I see. There we go. I had myself on as live. That's funny. Let me try to do this again on Instagram. I'm gonna try to go live. We'll probably be on for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, but I'm gonna uncover the aspects of wholesaling commercial and what that means. Uh, breaking. Excuse me one sec as I create. Gotta love technology to commercial wholesaling. All right. Stream key. All right, now we're. Hey, what's going on, Lisa? All right, let's see if I think we're live on Instagram as well. So this will be a short call, 30 minutes. Hope everyone's having a great week. Happy hump day. And we're going to be going over commercial wholesaling. I think that's a new biggest thing. And I can just share from our perspective what we've been doing in our business and in terms of marketing, how we're getting in touch with these owners and how we're kind of from start to finish, what that looks like. But before we get into that, don't forget to join the Get the Bag community. All that should be linked in the show notes or the description if you're on YouTube. If you're on Instagram or LinkedIn, I think you can click the link in my bio. That should take you somewhere. From Instagram, you should definitely be able to get the link from my bio to join. It's free. And, we go over cold call role plays. We have these calls and just a way to kind of showcase what we're doing. We also have a really cool set of courses. One of them behind us is the Off Market Blueprint for commercial. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen real quick. Share screen. Let's make sure I got a new cord this time for my mic last week while I was doing an underwriting session. For some reason, I think the cord that connects to my laptop disconnected and it was just a mess. So I was like, this can't happen. I was mute for like 5 minutes, which is crazy. I felt like, and I feel like I was really like sharing some good stuff. So house rules again. Usually we have these on Zoom, but I can't hear you guys. So please comment. I want to hear your questions. So for today, what we're going to be going over is a commercial off-market sales process that we have. The systems do matter. So the systems that you do have on the leads that are coming in, the software that you're using, and then we're going to review again just to recap. Underwriting actually a multifamily deal we're working on right now. It's 46 units across 4 properties in LA, specifically, I believe North Englewood, and then leave room for any Q&A. So, commercial off-market sales process. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen there. That is everything. For us, the way that we typically do it is through REI Sift, through a very niche down marketing channels, and then we also use a dialer. Most of our strategy is outbound. We do outbound and we do outbound cold calling, outbound texting. So those are the two outbound we're using at the moment. And the reason why I just really stick with cold calling is it works. Guys, like today, like these were my calls. I called uh SoCal, so LA multifamily, just using two numbers. And I dialed, my goal is to dial close from 100 to 200 dials a day. And this is a specific, it's not a super niche, but it's still niched. It's like out of state multifamily owners that either have some form of either owned it for quite some time, or there's like a financial issue going on. And if we take a look at my reports today, this is why it's kind of cool having these sort of systems, is I can take a look at the KPIs that I have for today. And 20% answer rate, which is still pretty good. So that means 39 people actually picked up the phone. I don't know, out of those 39, I did get a few dead numbers, but that's still not bad. Honestly, I had some really good conversations, got one lead out of it, potentially another one, but I'm following up. So it's these sort of things, is doing it consistently. And all I did was I decided, hey, this is what I'm going to do. It's temporary because eventually I'm not going to be doing all the cold calling. But the main point is that I'm going to be um, making these calls, creating the systems in place, and that's all through the sales funnels that you create. So I think I had it somewhere. I think it was Miro. I may have to log in, but the sales funnel that we did create, I think I just have to kind of finish up the. Let me see here. Flowchart. I think I just have to finish up some things, but we have four parts of our business. Okay. And this is why I'm going back to the point of, it's kind of a combo. Sales process and systems matter, because you have to document your process. And what happens when, whether you're in residential or commercial, it all applies the same way, is you don't have a system in place. You don't, you're just doing it willy nilly. You're just like, oh, I'll cold call right now. I'll cold call this. I'm not tracking KPIs, nothing. Guys, it's so inevitable. Even if it's just the basic stuff. That's why it's cool having a dialer, because I can then take this, plug it into a sheet, or I can pull a report and then plug that in. However you want to do it, right? But you have to track your data, and successful businesses know their data. And this is why I'm a firm believer. I think I am, do have an affiliate link with REI SIP, but this is why I love them, because it really gives you insights into the data that you have. And that to me is huge. Right. And I think there's, not to knock down other, CRMs or data management platforms that are used, but I honestly think in terms of, once you get it, it's such a powerful tool. And then the integrations that they do have, which one of them is smartphone and smart dialer. That's what I use to make calls. There's other ones that people use as well, but creating a sales system, sales process is super key, because if you don't have that, like, how do you know what the next step is? So once you get a lead, what happens? So again, these are very basic wholesaling, or really business. Like, this can apply for people who are agents, um, you name it. But when you get a lead, what happens next? Right. So here, this is for our commercial. So we haven't done direct mail yet, but that is one thing that we will be doing, because believe, where's the direct mail? Hold on, I can't see. I think they used to have it here. Well, they have a direct mail option. I don't know. I don't want to skip trace 30,000 one day. So they have a direct mail option that I can send bulk. I kind of went over this last week. I have a specific set of filters that I go over and pull this specific information here on what I want to, the specific direct mail data that I want to send mail. And it's really important, because you don't want to send it out. And this is what I mean, clarity on my data. How many people just get a list and then just shoot it out, import it into a direct mail service without checking that it's not a vacant mailing? Like that is like, how do you not know that? So again, we verify if it's a vacant mailing. REI SIF does that for me. So now I know, okay, cool. I have 97 records that I need to put in through direct mail. So that's something that we're in the process in. But the main ones we're doing right now is cold call and text. So when a new lead comes in, we have to verify, is it a qualified lead or is it just one where we have to follow up? It happens. The qualified leads is someone that wants to sell within the next 30 to 60 days. Um, has a motivation. That's always a big thing. Like, what is their pain point? This goes for commercial and residential. One of the things with that, I may have mentioned this couple weeks ago, the differences between commercial and residential is there's different levels of pain. When we think of residential or when you're wholesaling a deal with like what's the motivation? Sometimes it's like, oh, divorce or foreclosure, right? Family matters, whatever. And commercial is very similar too. There's financial burden. Like, you hear about a lot of these office spaces, multifamily owners who took a loan out, a couple years ago that are now coming due, and they bought it at a specific rate and it's jumped, skyrocketing, and it's going to throw off all their numbers. But there's also different pain points with commercial. It's maybe they're looking to upgrade, right, and do a 1031. Maybe there's a partnership mishap. And that happens a lot. And this is the lead that we're working on actually now. The four properties for 46 unit. It's not even a partnership dispute. It's sort of like it's a dissolvement. He's looking to him and his partner are looking to just sell off the properties that they have together because um, the partner is older. He's going through early stages of dementia, which is really sad. But this stuff happens, and so you have to catch him at the good time and qualifying the lead, understanding like what their issue is and what the best solution is. So if it's not a qualified lead, put them in the follow up bucket where text or follow up. I probably can go a little bit further on this on like, send or do a monthly cold call dialer kind of thing. But say they're qualified. We're going to make an offer. We're going to verify first. So I can probably do something here where it's like an underwriting. So I'll probably add that in because that's what we're doing right now is we're underwriting the deal to make sure it makes sense for investors before we shoot it out to investors. Because just because the seller shoots us some information doesn't mean it's a deal. Sometimes the numbers are way off, and we're not going to send that to to investors. And there's also a lot of things in this too. It's did they send over financials? Do we have at least the P&Ls, or at least like what's the profits and expenses coming in, that kind of stuff. And then once we know we have an idea, maybe get some feelers out, we will send an LOI, letter of intent. It's basically a pre-purchase agreement form that just, shows all the information and the terms that we're going to put on the purchase agreement. This is just so we don't waste time in sending an actual purchase agreement. This is very common in the commercial space. You don't want to have to keep doing an addendum. It's just a basic form. And I think I have this in the copy of our school community. I believe, actually, I don't know if it's in that. It may be maybe something I haven't added in our not our contact library. I want to say essential documents. Yeah, I still need to add it. But there's a very professional looking one that you can use. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if this one works as it loads. But yeah, so you want to put together a letter of intent. Oh, here we go. So this would be an example letter of intent. So you have your logo, letter of intent to purchase. This is to the owner. And you're just kind of filling out the information. You're going to put your name, purchase price, EMD, all that stuff that goes into the purchase agreement is all here, right? It just makes you look nice. It makes you look official. So it's important to have an LOI, right? And then once we send the LOI, is the offer accepted? No. If it's not, we're doing the follow-up, offer follow-up 1, 2, and then if they ghost us enough, we'll just put them in the follow-up bucket. I can probably, again, we can tighten this up a little bit more. But if the offer is accepted, we'll send a purchase agreement, agreement signed, purchase agreement signed, send deals or details to RTC. Buyer found, yes. If buyer is not found, there's one that we need to do on the dispo side where, if buyer isn't found, like what's the kind of the backup plan and if it's canceling and um, all that stuff. So this is a very high level that I've created, but it's good because it kind of gives you um, just a high level view of what goes on in a deal. So this is for our internal system, so our internal marketing, but we also have referrals process for the brokers or agents that we work with, and then we have a JV with process for the wholesalers that we work with as well. So this is kind of like the process. So it's really important to have process down. So if you're doing it solo dolo, it's important to start documenting it now. And then what the next step for me is, for at each step, I'll probably have a Loom video or a document SOP, meaning like what does a qualified lead look like, and it's me going over it, how to create an LOI, that kind of stuff. So that's really important. And this is stuff that a lot of just wholesaling companies, successful wholesaling companies actually have set in place already. Um, yes, I will share that. What's up, Alex? What's going on, man? Always love to hear from you. Yes, I will drop that for you. But guys, it's such a powerful tool. REI Sift is. So I'll drop it. It may actually be in the YouTube description if I'm not mistaken. So if you just kind of click on there, um, you'll find it. But I'll drop it in. So that's the sales process, right? But that's sort of like it's all combined with the systems that you set in place. So, like I said, everything is starts through REI Sift. I have all the filters set up. Um, and then there's kind of two ways that I do the calls. A more specific niche down process is doing my first to market, meaning, hey, I'm not going to put this in a bulk dialer or anything. I'm just going to call right through it. And so a lot of them, I'm either because I'm making the calls right now since we've transitioned to commercial, so I'm plugging them into Smart Dialer. But if it's a small enough list, like maybe 5 to 10 properties, it's not supposed to be a super big list when you're doing these sort of things. Otherwise, you're better off putting it in a dialer. I kind of go through here, and then these are the ones that I call through, and then I'm gonna plug it in here. I'm gonna call each one. And this is actually this is where I want to kind of go over and what I need to also depict. So we're going here. This is just going through a sale, right? But each specific portion here has its own process. So, but you're not seeing it. You're just seeing, hey, cold call. But you're not just going to cold call and that's that, right? There's a process like getting a list, skip tracing it, putting it into the dialer. Luckily, what I also love about REI Sift is it's integrated directly with Smart Dialer. So if I want to select here and send it to Smart Dialer, I can set that up all here, and then it'll create the campaign. Boom, I just start calling right then and there. And then the best part too with the integration is if any calls I'm having here, so say I hop on the dialer, I mark it not interested or I mark it a lead, it's gonna mark it for me. Or if I went through all the numbers and I said like correct number, wrong number, it's going to mark it for me. So that saves me so much time. I don't have to get a VA to do that because I used to be a pain when I didn't have that integration. If I had like batch dialer, but I was using REI SIP for my data, I'd mark it in batch dialer and then I'd have to mark it in REI Sift or maybe run a report and then like import it. And that was such a pain. So it just removes the headache. Absolutely. But what I wanted to go back to is like each specific marketing channel that you have has a specific process. So for me, the cold call, when you click on this, I'm going to have an SOP that lists out along with the Loom that lists out, okay, this is the cold call process. This is what you do first. This is how you upload the records, things of that nature. And then this is how you this is the script. This is how you use Smart Dialer. This is how you use the first to market within smartphone, right? As you're going through, this is how you do it. So it's having a set process and following it and being consistent. And I don't mean trying it out for a week and then quitting and then being like, this doesn't work. And there's so many people like that. People are so impatient. Guys, I've been in this 3 years. Everyone's journey is different. Like, you have to be patient. The ones that make it through are the ones that are super patient, because this, excuse my language, but this shit is hard. It's really hard, but it's not, I should say it's hard, but what's the saying? It's hard, but it's not easy, or it's easy, but it's not hard, or something like that. I'm blanking out on the saying, but it's really simple, but it's not easy. That's what it is. It's simple, but it's not easy. I'm here complicating all the sayings. You have to simplify things. And I think I was telling someone, I was showing I think my insights on in our school community. Somebody was asking, well, when do you leave a voicemail? Do you leave a voicemail once you've contacted them, or when they ghost you? And if you follow the first to market method through like REI Sift and smartphone, like actually hand dialing, going through here, like you have the tally counter, you have the smartphone. It's not opening, it's being shy. Oh, there it is. You have this here. So if I click here, it'll call. That has its own process. So you have to learn that. So once you mastered it, then you can teach someone else. Well, a lot of mistakes that people make is they don't like cold calling, right? So they're gonna hire a cold caller, but they don't even know what it takes to be a cold caller. So I think that's a important thing to consider, is like, you have to go through it. If you have no choice, if you have the budget and you can hire a really good cold caller, you still have to learn like what it looks like. So I highly recommend, whether you're wholesaling commercial or not, like, you have to like go through the process, and at least from start to finish, and do a deal where you've actually like cold called, because only then will you understand how to teach it to others, right? Unless you hire an agency or something. But again, it's like understanding that. So through here, you usually call through each number, market whatever you want to market, whether it's a wrong number, correct number, that kind of thing. And each call, depending if it's a mobile. So if it's a mobile and it goes to voicemail, I'm going to leave a voicemail, super vague. Hey, it's Claudia. I'm calling from my company. We're looking to do a 1031. This is one of the pitches I mentioned, and was wondering if you've considered selling on 123 Main Street. Feel free to give me a call. This is my number. And then on the text, I'll just say, hey, give me a call. Just left a voicemail. So I'm going to do that through each one. If it's a landline, I'm just going to leave a voicemail. Sometimes you can't leave a voicemail, but I'm going to go through each one, and that's one attempt. And then I do that for 3 consecutive days, and then it flushes through. So this is the sales process. So after a month, I'm going to put in all the people I wasn't able to reach into the dialer, call through those. If those don't respond, then I'm still, during that time, I'm still sending out direct mail. So I have this rehash. And then I also have a not interested. And that's like for follow up. But one that I just started doing, I think I need to create do I have I don't think it's the cleanup. But I think for the prospecting, so these are for leads that I have not reached in contact. So they've gone through the dialer, they've gone through, say, text messaging, they've gone through the first to market, they've gone through direct mail and no contact. Or maybe we went through everything and still nothing, right? Like nobody's answering. I think it's this one, exhausted. So out of all of these records, let's see, these are all people that have not picked up. So it's setting time to do some research. And these are the things that people aren't going to do, especially in commercial. And the ones that are succeeding have a sales process set in place. So there's no leaks in your system. This is how they keep it tight. So again, either you're skip tracing it from 2 different locations, and then going through the dialer, going through the process, and then checking, okay, did all these numbers get called? And did I get a correct number? If I didn't, then either I have to do further research. So I'm going to look into that specific contact and see what's going on. Maybe they're deceased, that kind of thing. So that really brings you insight in having a tight sales system. It doesn't have to be like how I'm telling you guys, but start with something simple. So if you just have a dialer, this is why it's so important to have a CRM or to keep track of your follow-ups, everything. It's going to be a little bit harder if you don't have a centralized location. If you're using like a Google Sheets, you have to have everything color coded probably. It's going to make it a little bit difficult. So it's important to having a system set in place that kind of does a lot of that for you. But you have to keep track of these things, and you're not going to do it all at once. So at least keep track of the people you reached that said they're not interested. Make sure you're able to follow up with them or set a task to follow up with them. Because guys, the money's in the follow up, like they say. Um, yeah, exactly. It's super rewarding. So that's the biggest thing on the systems. And so it's important to create one for each marketing channel that you have, and going from there. So I'm gonna jump in. Have a couple minutes left on the underwriting. So underwriting for the 46 units, the four properties that we have. So I don't have the addresses here intentionally, but I do have, the city and the zip code. So these are 46 units in total in North Englewood. This is a cold call lead. I actually had our good friend Atia make calls for us to reach out to investors, not asking if they want to sell, asking if they're looking to buy. And this guy said, "Hey, well, I'm actually looking to sell because my partner is old and I'm looking to sell these off market." So he's the one that provided us. This is how old school this guy is. I haven't seen it, and I've heard about it, but I hadn't dealt with it yet. Not to this extent. This guy owns like millions, multi-millions. He's a multi-millionaire, owns millions worth of value of their property portfolio, and he manages the properties mostly himself, and he has everything by hand. Nothing in the system. Everything is written out by hand. So he was like, we were asking, yeah, if you can email us the financials. No, do you have a fax number? He literally was like, I have this all. I can scan it for you guys. And I was like, can you take a picture of it and send it to us? Like, he was just like, no, I'm gonna fax it to you guys. So luckily, Tim's wife is a lawyer and had a fax number, so we were able to get the financials to the fax. So this is a calculator that I use for smaller multifamily. If for those that you want to do kind of a like larger multifamily, like, if we're talking 30 and up, 30 units, 30 doors, the Michael Blanc calculator is really good. But this, just for keeping things simple, this is really digestible and it's a good visual. And this is done through Invest by Ace. If you guys don't follow him, he's a great follow. He has this calculator. I think it's like $30. So this is good for residential, obviously commercial, but it really kind of breaks down for everything. Now, this is why I would recommend if you're doing a larger multifamily, because the Michael Blanc calculator, that has specific maybe calculations that multifamily investors will look out for. But if we're talking like, the largest here is 12 units or 15 units, I think most of the stuff here is pretty legit. But again, if you want like super detailed, I think you're good with this one. So these are four properties that I did. I plugged in, I did the breakdown of each bedroom bathrooms. This is the current rents that he gave me. And then I put in income. This is where all the income. So he earns $300 a month from laundry. And then I also did some research on market rents in the area, and I was still pretty conservative. And then I marked in like what the property taxes are, the insurance. All of this is provided in his lovely handwriting. So that was a little bit more difficult to kind of carry over. Literally, like I couldn't do a copy paste. I had to like look it over and plug it in, but we made it happen. So these are all the expenses that he has. He doesn't charge a management fee because he manages it himself, but I think management for something like this is probably less than 6%, but I'm being conservative. Vacancy, usually 6%. Some people are doing higher, but that's usually the standard I set. Maintenance, this is only if the maintenance is going to be higher if it's a really rundown property. You want to take that in consideration, but if it's kind of in the middle or turnkey, the maintenance is going to be less. It's just kind of maintenance, right? It's not doing the most. But these ones are pretty stabilized, meaning like he's done some updates here and there, but there's room for value add. Like you can definitely do a lot more and obviously raise the rents if you see here. There's even some that are paying pretty close to it. So that means even some are paying pretty close to the market rent. And then here, the way I said it is for a conventional investor that has a loan where they have to put down 20% and an interest rate of 6%. I don't know what the interest rate is now. And then I set the closing costs at like 2% of the purchase price. You can vary, like I think closing costs are like 1 to 3 or something like that. So as it stands, again, these are tentative numbers, but we're not supposed to do full due diligence anyways. It's just like a quick math so that we can send it out to our investors. But with everything here, they could net $700 a month with a cap rate of 5.94%, which isn't too bad. That means there's room for improvement. And this is for LA. Now for market rent. So this is what the current pro forma, again, what's provided, and then stabilized, meaning like, hey, we've updated all of the units and we're getting top market rent. Some of these may be, I don't know if they're low income or some of these are low income or not. So that may, again, that's also part of the due diligence, which I don't think he mentioned if some of them were Section 8 or not, or low income. But at the current market rent or web market rents, we're talking a cap rate of 8%. Again, some investors may be looking for something else. It just varies, but high level, the numbers look pretty good for this one. So we kind of broke that down for each one of them, and that gave us some really good insights. This one, you wouldn't be necessarily netting a lot, but again, if you raise the rents, when I did the research, the rents are substantially more, and this was me being conservative. So potentially, you'd be jumping from 5.5 to almost 10, which is pretty good. But again, it'll vary, but this is up to the investor on how they want to calculate. Again, going to this, and then this one has a pool too. So that's also considering, which I added here, all the pool fees that they have. So that's really it, guys. It's really just plugging in, having a really good calculator, plugging in all the insights and kind of seeing what your buyers are buying. Like they will tell you straight up, either I'm buying, what was it, price per unit, meaning at the price, you divide it by how many units. Some are like price per square foot, meaning the price divided by the square footage of the building. Some focus more on the cap rate. Everyone has a different strategy. So you just, that's important to note in your CRM as well. When you're vetting them, some people won't care if they cash flow. Maybe they need to park their money. Maybe they're okay with losing some money because they're like, hey, I know the potential. So I can net 23K a month on this. So shoot, why not? Let me try doing this. The other thing that I didn't mention, for 3 of these properties, they are an assumable loan on it. So there's an assumable loan, meaning he has, meaning whoever wants to buy it can assume the loan that's under the current owner. And it's almost like a sub two, but it's like an allowed, so like you have to go through the hoops. There's probably paperwork that needs to be signed, but it means any new owner can step in and own that loan, which is really cool. And those loans are like under 4%, which is like a steal, right? So that makes a huge difference in this deal because instead of having to come up with all the cash, I can just assume the loan, say it's at a million. Now I only have to come in for 2 million. Now I only have to pay the seller 2 million and then just pay off. That's super huge, especially in today's market. And that rate is locked in for like another 25 years. So he got a 30-year loan on this, and this was a local bank. So those are things that you start learning, especially in commercial. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for assumable loans. Um, those are always really attractive deals, but the numbers still have to pan out, especially on the like when you're kind of forecasting what that looks like. And so that's where, the investors that are buying will have their own sort of calculator or have their own underwriting team that takes a look at it, right? It just depends on the deal. But that is pretty much everything that is on here. I hope you guys found that super, super helpful. If there's any questions, I want to make sure you guys post your questions that you do have. I haven't checked Instagram. I haven't even gone live. Well, maybe for next time. It's only us here on YouTube. But let me see if I can drop that affiliate so you guys can check it out. I want to say that the lowest for REI Sift is. Uh, Wait, did I? That doesn't seem right. Yeah, that's not right. I think their lowest is like 150. But it includes a lot, and then they have a business plan that's 300, like 299. So it's a pretty good deal, I would say. I don't know why it was acting weird. Perfect. So that's my affiliate link for REI Sift. I don't know if I can have one for smartphone or smart dialer, but I hope you guys hope that was really helpful. I kind of went over a lot, but I think it's really beneficial for those who want to get into commercial. And I'm also in the process of getting my license here in Florida to practice commercial. So that part of our boutique, we have the option to wholesale it or represent a seller as a realtor. So that's kind of the game plan for this. So keep you guys posted on how that goes. But I'm gonna hop off, guys. Thanks so much for joining, and catch you guys later. Peace.